Why does energy matter? And why does energy matter for all of us? As human beings, we have a huge responsibility on our shoulder. With the international claim on sustainable development, we do know that no generation can contract debts greater than what may be paid during the course of its own existence. So, our current choices have effects on those who will come soon on Earth. Our life has always been linked to energy, or better, to the capacity of using it, starting from the fire. Far back in the history, mankind was aware of the fire, since spontaneous events were used to occur in the forest, close to their hearts. Only when we have learned how to manage it, our life has changed. We have learned how to preserve food and protect us from the cold night. Mankind has so gained the time to do other things, in addition to be struggled by the daily subsistence. We have acquired other capacities. We have learned how to use stone and wood to make goods and other craftworks. We have started writing on the wall of our caverns. And finally, we have given the birth to the philosophical and rational thinking, which is at the base of our development. Since the very beginning of its history, mankind has used natural resources. As far as energy, firstly, we have exploited renewable energies, like the sun, for growing up crops, for feeding our family, and wind, for sailing our boats or for operating our mills. What the history of mankind proves is that human and economic activity went along the discovery of new sources of energy. To be more precise, they went along the development of the right capacity of using these new sources of energy. Human production activities rely on natural resources. Nowadays, the majority of the resources used by human activities are non-renewables. They are limited, their misuse may affect the environment, and their non-equitable management may affect social inclusion. This means that there are implications in our rate of using them. Indeed, over the last 2 decades, we may say since 1992 with the very famous Brundtland report, the concern about overexploitation of natural resources from the environment and the consequent injection of wastes into the environment due to human activity has come to be a global issue. We know we are now at a turning point with 2 counteracting elements. From one side, if we could not learn how to decrease and properly manage the consumption of natural resources, reduce waste and pollution, proceed toward a more equitable distribution of them, no sustainable development may ever come. From the other, if we reduce dramatically our resource use and we run into shortage of resources, we could put under severe threat our life and society. To overcome this dichotomy, mankind needs to find appropriate, sustainable, and equitable ways to manage natural resources all along their life cycle. Exploitation, extraction or transformation, use and disposal back to the environment. It's so evident that accounting for natural resources is crucial. How available they are, how efficiently they are used, how they become depleted. These are some of the questions thermodynamics as scientific discipline is addressing. It deals with energy, energy transfer among systems and between a system and the external environment, and analyze energy fluxes in terms of quantity and quality. Despite many students in the world may disagree with me, to learn thermodynamics is not so difficult, provided that you get acquainted with 2 fundamental laws. They state 2 crucial principles. First law deals with the principle of conservation of total energy. If we extend our domain to consider the universe, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. The overall quantity of energy which is circulating is due to remain the same. Second law complements this declaration, and it states that not all energy can be used, but in the process of transferring energy from one form to another, a part of its quality is lost. This loss may be kept under control and reduced, but it cannot be brought to zero. So, energy is always the same, but the more we use, the more its quality gets degraded, and it becomes useless for the purpose of human and economic activity. So far, economists have paid attention mostly to the physical roots of what people want and desire, but not so much to the physical roots. The overall assumption at the base of this reasoning is that the biophysical world is assumed to be so large relative to its economic subsystem that the physical constraints are not binding. But now that the scale of the economy becomes global and the concern about resources has risen to the international attention, thermodynamic constraints need to be considered within economy. The link between the entropic nature of economic processes was firstly addressed by Rogen in his magisterial work, The Entropy Law and the Economic Process, and states that applying thermodynamic thinking to problems of sustainable and equitable use of resources may induce significant advantage in bringing order to ill-defined questions. That is the reason why energy matters. So, the laws of thermodynamics should also be considered as part of the laws of economy. If we could create useful energy or destroy the unuseful one, we would have abundant sources and thus no depletion, but also no pollution and discharges. But simply we cannot, since the first law rules out this direct abolition of scarcity. But instead, we may have an indirect abolition of scarcity if we could use the same energy over and over again for the same purposes. But simply again, this perfect recycling cannot occur, since the second law rules it out. Simple, isn't it? Now you are ready to apply your thermodynamic thinking to some questions which are quite popular on the media and in a number of non-specialized newspapers. Whatever human activity we are referring to, building, chemical process, energy transformation, design of products, does it make sense to speak about zero-impact activity? Even if the answer is now obvious to all of us, this does not mean that we do not have the duty to reduce the impact of all our activities by working on efficiency, by properly mixing renewable sources with non-renewables, by avoiding wastes, by reusing and recycling products. If we wish to contribute to a sustainable future for our human and economic activities, this is a part of our job as engineers, architects and designers. But we need to go this way without violating any physical law.